Hey guys, Unicorn Mama here. Today I wanted to do a video on formula feeding versus breastfeeding. Now, I know a lot of new mamas that are breastfeeding. Go you guys rock. And I just wanted to do a video on how I felt about both types of feedings. Now, when I first got pregnant back in June of 2016, my goal was to breastfeed. Like I was just telling everyone, I'm breastfeeding, I'm breastfeeding, I'm breastfeeding. But then once I had my daughter in March of this year, when I was in the hospital, she wasn't really latching that well. So I had to end up getting a nipple shield, which is basically almost like putting a nipple that's on a bottle onto your breast. So that way, she can still feed from your breast without you having to, pump and make bottles with your breast milk. So it was working for a little while. She did latch maybe once or twice in the hospital, which was pretty good, but she wasn't really latching. So I had to, end up doing a nipple shield like I said before. So the first month of her being home it was pretty rough trying to get her to stay attached to the nipple shield as well too, because like I would have milk coming and she would like get attached, but then she'll like unattach herself, and then I would end up losing some milk, or and then she would only like drink for maybe like 10 to 15 minutes, when I know a lot of people that breastfeed, they say that their babies will feed for like 20 to 45 minutes. So when she wasn't feeding that long, she would like wake up in the middle of the night crying like bloody murder because she would still be hungry, and I would try feeding her and feeding her and feeding her. And I know that she went through cluster feeding as well, so I know that was also a part of it. But it was a lot. It was a lot. Both of my breasts, like they became kind of like, I guess, raw in a sense, because she would like when I say like it hurt to breastfeed, it hurt to breastfeed. So I had a lot of pain, and I also had a lot of bleeding. So it got to the point where one day she was actually feeding for me, and then all of a sudden, like maybe a 25 to a half hour later, she threw up a lot of blood, and then like scared the living hell out of me. After that, I was like, you know what? Now I'm just going to pump. I'm just going to straight pump. I'm like, I can't breastfeed right now because my nipples are way too chapped. They're way too, like, they're in pain. It's not, fun right now for me. So I just pumped and I pumped and I pumped. And it got to the point where I ended up getting like metastasis. I think I'm saying the word right, which is basically a milk duct in your breast that gets clogged. So I ended up having like red spots on my breasts, and it got to the point where I couldn't even hold up my own child because like I was in so much pain. Like it gives you almost like flu-like symptoms. So I had body aches, and it got to the point where, like I said, like in the middle of the night, I'm trying to breastfeed because I didn't make a bottle the night before. Well, not the night before, but that night. And I couldn't even hold her up. Like I actually had to have my husband to like hold her up on me just so she can feed. So then then the doctor's visit started. And then they were saying, oh, she's not really gaining that much weight. She went out the hospital at 8 pounds, 15 ounces. She's only at 8 pounds, 5 ounces now. She's actually losing some weight. But babies lose a little bit of weight because they lose that water weight. But they were still saying, oh, she's not gaining enough weight. So now I'm at I'm at a crossroads. I'm like, so should I formula feed a little bit so I can supplement so that way she can get a little bit more? And that's what I end up doing. I end up supplementing. So I end up adding some formula to my breast milk so that way she can get a little bit extra during her feedings. Because like I said, at this point now, I'm just bottle feeding. I'm not breastfeeding right now. Like it got to the point where it was hurting way too much and I was going through a lot. And even with the pumping, I still kept getting those clogged milk ducts. So it was just very painful. So once like the first or second week of April, which is this month, started, I decided I'm just going to formula feed. I talked to the doctors about it. They said it's okay. And I started her on Enfamil. It is a newborn, Bear with me. I'm trying to get my thoughts together. A newborn formula. There you go. Wow, that was funny. I couldn't even get my words out. But anyway, it's a newborn formula. It's for the first 3 months. It's formulated after early breast milk. So, and it also helps with the immune system. It has vitamin D to help with building strong bones. It also helps with brain development. So, and it has a lot of vitamins and minerals in it. So, at first, I really felt ashamed. I was like, oh, I'm formula feeding. I told myself the whole time throughout my pregnancy I'm breastfeeding, and now I've ended up stopping after a month. Now, sometimes, things happen. And I've gotten to the point where I realize things happen. I cannot be upset with myself for, formula feeding. I just can't do it. I can't be upset. I tried it. I tried breastfeeding. It wasn't for me. My body was going through way too much. And I was like, you know what? I went through 9 months of pregnancy. I really can't go through like more months of me being in more pain. So I make bottles now. She's gaining weight. One visit, she was 8 pounds 9 ounces. By the next one, maybe like 3 or 4 days, I think it was like 4 or 5 days later, with me just formula feeding her, she went to 9 pounds 6 ounces. So she wasn't even gaining weight when I was breastfeeding her. She gained like 1 ounce in 1 week, but in formula feeding, she gained like that much. So like she's actually, not progressing, but she's gaining the proper amount of weight right now, which I'm actually pretty excited about. I'm actually happy that she's gaining weight. My little roly-poly-oly, my little chunky monkey. Yeah, I'm looking down because she's laying right next to me. My little nor. But after all of that, I just, I felt bad after a while. And then I was like, you know what? I can't, make myself feel like I'm, being a bad mother because I'm not breastfeeding. Like, so many people actually have their children in hospital and they just go straight formula. They don't even try to breastfeed. So at least I know she got the colostrum in the beginning, and I know that she at least got a month of breastfeeding from me. But the formula is really good. She's, like I said, she keeps it down, so it's not like she had a reaction to it. I'm actually pretty happy about that because some babies actually have a really bad reaction to dairy, so they end up having like, they end up getting like the hives and like a little bit of blood in their stool. But she actually is doing great. I'm so happy for her that she's gaining weight like she should. And, like I said, don't feel bad if you have to formula feed. Like, just don't. Because some people have to. Like, granted, formula costs a lot of money. It does. Because the formula that I get is like $27 for a tin. Not a tin, the container. Because I get the Infamil, like I said, newborn, 0 to 3 months. Non-GMO. So I also get the one that doesn't have any genetically enhanced ingredients in it. So, that's pretty good too. 'Cause at first I had it, but then I was like, oh, wait, they have a non-GMO one? Oh, cool. So I'm going to definitely, keep up with getting the non-GMO one. But like I said, don't ever feel bad about, formula feeding because, here's what I say. As long as your child is eating, she's keeping her food down, he or she is keeping her food down, and she's gaining the necessary weight that she's supposed to gain, then everything is going to be okay. So that's basically all I really wanted to talk about with that. Like, I just want to let people know, like, don't ever feel bad for, doing certain things with your, with, like, when it comes to feeding. Because, like, at the end of the day, she's being fed. My daughter's doing great right now. And there's nothing that I have to really feel bad about. So, thank you guys for watching. Leave any comments in the comment section below. Let me know, like, if you ever felt bad about, formula feeding and just, your experience with breastfeeding. Because, like I said, some people actually go for breastfeeding, like, till kids are, like, 13 years old. Like, and I don't see how you go that far, but I've seen the article about a lady that did that, and I'm like, yeah, it's a little bit, that's a lot. But, if you want to keep going, that's your body. Like, you'll keep producing milk as long as you keep pumping and having the baby on it. So, hey, if you want to go that far, then you do that. You making me proud because I can never go that far. But, at the end of the day, like I said, just never feel bad about what you do. when it comes to like formula and breastfeeding, because, you know, like I said, your baby's eating. That's all that really matters. So, like I said, leave a comment below. Let me know, like, do you formula feed, do you breastfeed, and how long you've breastfed, and how long you formula fed, and if you had to supplement too, or if you're in the same predicament as I am, or if you're in a different predicament as I am. But you guys have a wonderful day, and Unicorn Mom out. Peace, peace, peace.